All right, you all, welcome back to the Black Mind Garden where we're remapping minds so you can create a life you design. I am so excited today for my guest. She is my friend, she is my colleague, she is my sister girl, Dr. Latifat Akintade. She is the owner of MoneyFitMD, and that's what we're talking about today. We are talking about not only money mindset, but why we struggle with money, right? And we're about to go deep, y'all. But before I do, let me introduce Dr. Latifat. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing fantastically well. Thanks for having me here. Always a pleasure. Always.
Yes. Well, so the first thing I like to do is have the audience get acquainted with you. Tell us about you. Tell us about your story, your money story, whatever you want to tell us to get them sort of related.
Absolutely. So I'm Dr. Latifat. I'm a GI doctor. I'm based in California. I'm also a mama of three little ladies. I grew up in Nigeria and moved here, I want to say about 20 or so years ago. And when I did, I knew nothing about money. I was just, an immigrant trying to survive. I was grateful that I had shelter. There were times when like I didn't really have much to eat on any day because I couldn't afford anything.
Mm.
But that's how my story started. My parents were okay financially back in Nigeria, but we didn't really learn anything about money. No one taught us anything.
Wow.
So for me, it was like I just wanted to get educated and become this physician thing because when you become a physician, you get to do good and you don't have to worry about money.
Mhm.
Lies.
Right. So we thought.
Lies. So we thought, right? I'm grateful for the student loans that I got because that's how I'm able to become the person that I am today. But I had to get student loans. No one really talked to us about the interest. No one really
Mhm.
talked to us about how to pay it back. So essentially, I'm just focused in my life on becoming a great doc, which is what I've always wanted to do.
Mhm.
But in the background of that was the six-figure burden that was growing with me. But again, no one was talking about it. If you asked at all, it was like, well, you're going to make decent money, so you'll be able to take care of it.
Right.
And there's an element of that that is true. However, it's not automatic, right? Because what I found as a physician is there's so much that we do to maintain our lives to be able to take care of our patients, right?
Mhm.
It's, childcare is a huge cost. The student debt with the interest is a huge cost.
Yeah.
The food prep and all those things, they do add extra level of maintenance that are not splurges, that are just essential in
Yep.
order for me to be able to take care of my patients in clinic. So that's kind of the background of where the story all started for me. And then 6 years ago, I kind of had a wake up call where I'm like, okay, Latifat, you want to take care of patients for a long time. Medicine is kind of changing a little bit. And in order to be able to maintain your own power, to be able to live by your ethical standards, whatever that is, you
Mhm.
need to get your money right.
Right.
So that's kind of how it started for me, where 6 years ago, I had to start the discomfort or the uncomfortable process of learning what the heck is a budget. Okay, I hate budgeting. How do I get my money
Mhm.
right, even if I hate budgeting? Like, what's a retirement account? Like, all those little things.
And
That's where it started from.
let me just I just want to interject just for a moment because this is key, right? You said as a physician, I need to get my money right. Now, there are people out there who are non-physicians that are like, what? A doctor having to get their money right? But let me tell you, y'all, it's not just because we have MDs does not make it automatic that we're rolling in the dough and that we have our money right. Because it's more than just what you earn. It's more than that, right? So I had to like pull that out because that was just such a gem. Because I know there are people out there like, what? People look at me when I would have these conversations like, what do you mean? You're a doctor. I'm like, that don't mean nothing.
Absolutely. And what people don't understand is I'm grateful for what I do, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
joy
Yeah.
and a privilege taking care
Mm-hmm.
of my patients. However, when you look at the average number of hours that most doctors work and you actually break it down, doctors don't go into medicine to make money.
Right.
They don't, because that's the wrong move. If all I want to do is money, I mean, literally, we're in training forever, earning less than minimum wage if we actually break it down per hour. And it's not just about how much you're earning, it's all those other things. Like the people that paid for your education are like, hello, doc, we here. Can you pay us back? Right?
Right.
There's so many little factors that go into it. Childcare. I mean, during COVID,
Mhm.
a lot of people were working remotely. A lot of doctors had to be out on the streets working. Guess what was happening? Higher cost of childcare,
Yep.
because your regular babysitter is like, no, thank you. I don't want to get exposed to COVID. So
Right.
there's a lot of additional cost that comes from operating
Mhm.
our lives as physicians,
Right.
but also the dirty truth is no one taught us about it.
That's right. That is so right. And it's so interesting because, you know, and I know we've talked about this book, The Millionaire Next Door. I read that book and it was like changed my life to realize that I'm not the only doc because I didn't grow up with counseling around money, and consequently, I mean, I got like a little bit from my dad, just a tad bit, right? But consequently, I started this getting my money right journey a little bit later, and I'm looking at my mom who still has a different mindset. Like she doesn't have retirement saved up. She doesn't have that stuff, which is like, oh, okay, got to start earlier, got to teach my son now.
Amen, amen. And that's the thing too. I think a lot of times people assume that, oh, because you're smart, you have to automatically get like no money. Or if I don't know money, that means I'm stupid. No, the reason why a lot of us struggle when it comes to money has nothing to do with numbers, because literally, like 100 times 100, you can do that in your mind. The actual math is the easy part, but it's all those things like the shame, the emotions, the mind blocks, because nobody wants to tell anybody that they're broke.
Right.
Nobody wants to tell anybody that I worry about money at night, right?
Right.
No one wants to tell anybody that, I'm just afraid of looking in the mirror and looking with shame at the
Mhm.
fact that I am 45 and I haven't even started getting my money right.
Right. Right. Right. Exactly. And no matter like what, profession you're in, there's an external societal expectation that at a certain age you have it together. You have gotten your stuff together, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk
Let's
about
talk about it.
I want to talk about this struggle. I mean, I love that you said, there's so much shame around money. There's so much shame, right? There's so many conversations that have been installed in us, not only from our own parents and ancestors, but from society that has nothing to do with us, right?
And I think sometimes we forget that our parents also grew up in society,
That's right.
right? Our parents are also, I don't like to use the word victims because it takes the power out of your hands in some shape or form. But I mean, the bottom line is we all exist in a world that's like, this is like a post colonization world, right?
Absolutely.
This is the world where we've been taught that one thing is right and one thing is wrong,
Oh, yes.
right? And if you
Mhm.
look back at history, you will see that a certain type of characteristic people, controlled a lot of the financial power and the economic power,
Right.
right?
Right.
And for our parents to survive, and whether you grew up here or internationally, let me
It's the
tell you, it
same.
affects. Let me
People
tell you,
people think that white supremacist culture is a US thing.
nah,
No, it's a
nah, it's not.
worldwide thing.
It's a worldwide
Colonization
thing.
mindset is a
I
worldwide thing.
Yes, yes,
And
it's a
and it's a
worldwide thing.
conditioning. It's a worldwide conditioning, right? So yeah, you said our parents grew up in that time. Our parents are conditioned. Their parents are conditioned all the way
Yes,
back.
all the way back. I mean, we talk about the United States, and I know a lot of our audience are in the United States, but we're going to have people that have immigrated from other places, and it may make sense to you when you listen to this conversation. And it's just the fact that even if you were to go to a lot of countries, someone that's not Black may be offered a job that someone else that's Black is declined,
Right.
even in their own home country.
Right.
It's because we live in a post-colonization world and the effect is still here,
That's
right? And we are doing the work on ourselves. We are unlearning. But some of our parents didn't have the luxury
Right.
of the internet space where they could leverage the benefit of these conversations happening
Right.
hundreds of thousands of miles away.
Right.
But I'm glad that we're here to have this conversation. And my hope is that your audience, wherever they are, can take at least one thing away where they're like, oh, maybe that makes sense, but not in a way where it's okay, this makes sense. I'm glad. And now I'm going to keep nursing that wound, but more of like, okay, now this is awareness. I'm here. I've learned that. Now, what are the steps I'm going to take to unlearn this so I can
Yes.
start saying yes to the
Yes.
abundance of money that's like waiting for me to open
Yes.
my doors.
Girl. And I love it's like the awareness, in many programs of recovery, they say awareness, acceptance, action, right? So, there's an awareness of where you are and how you come to be. But then you've got to be at a place of acceptance. Okay, this is what is happening now. Just because this is what is happening now, it doesn't mean that it has to be that way in the future. That is where you take the action. Like you said, how do you want to learn it? I love that. I love that. And the acceptance is also, you know, allowing yourself to um, even admit and call out the shame or the embarrassment. Because when we hide that stuff and we hold that stuff in, it settles and it doesn't allow us to take action because the shame and the embarrassment is there. Because we don't want to tell anybody. So if we are not going to tell anybody what's really so, if we haven't come to the acceptance of it, how in the world are we going to reach out for support and learn something different? How in the world? We're not. So in that part of that acceptance is to call out what's so, God, I feel embarrassed and this is the circumstance, or I feel shame, but this is the circumstance, right? Then there's a place that you are where someone, Dr. Latifat, can help you to begin to shift and to accept and heal that unconscious shame and guilt and anger and sadness and fear and whatever is there, right?
Absolutely.
So that you can now move that stuff out of the way and have direct access to the abundance that is already there waiting. And I love the way you language that. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I know you have a diverse audience, which is why I love your space. Um, People are like, oh, well, it's because you make six figures. Listen, y'all, I don't care what you do for a living. All right, this is gonna sound funny. So you guys you may have watched all those HGTV shows,
Mm-hmm.
and they always have those memes of like, I'm a pool man, I'm a pool boy, and my budget is $2 million, right? Right?
A pool party.
Yes. It's like the memes are
Yes.
pretty funny.
Right.
But I used to laugh at those until I understood money. And the reason why is most people that laugh about it, including myself in the
Right.
past, we don't truly understand money. What it means is that I don't care what you do for a living, you
Mm-hmm.
can build wealth.
Heck yeah.
Right? He said he's a pool man. We don't know what the heck is invested in passively
Right.
or whether he's like invested in stocks. We don't know if he has like a real estate empire. What he told us is what he spends his active hours doing. So the reason I bring that up is regardless of what you do, regardless of what your job title is, wealth is something that is available to you. And you may have to go outside of your work to
Mm-hmm.
build it,
Yes.
right? But understand that thinking that your job has to be your only source of income is you saying no to abundance of wealth.
Ooh, say it again, sister.
I don't remember what I said. So
This is what she said, y'all. This is what she said, because I heard it. You thinking your job has to be your only source of income is you saying no to abundance. Man,
absolutely.
that's beautiful. You know what? You like me because when you get in the spirit, you get in the spirit. You like, I don't know what I just
Yes.
said.
I don't
Yeah,
know
me
what I
too.
said.
I understand, but I was listening. That was some gold right there.
Right. And what comes up, Maiysha, is that after that, people are like, well, but I don't have time.
Mm,
Okay. And that brings up another mind block, which
right.
is you're assuming that in order for you to earn money, that you have to trade your time for money on a
Mm,
1-to-1 ratio.
right.
That's another lie that we've been told or taught by our generationally, sometimes
Yes.
our parents, right? Because they're like, work hard. I mean, work hard. You gotta hustle. And I'm not anti-hustle, and you
Right.
may have to, depending on what season you're in.
Mhm.
But whenever you say, I don't have time, I already work all these hours at this job, it's assuming that you have to be the one physically there in order to earn an income. I
Right.
mean, look at Amazon. I don't know how many hours or how much Amazon you've delivered. How much of that did Jeff Bezos bring to your doorstep?
Hello.
None,
Not
none,
to nary one.
none, none, none. Right. So I just want us to start challenging our thinking in a way, not in a bad way of like, you know, negative way, but in a
Right.
way of maybe there are alternatives. Maybe there are other ways of doing this. Maybe I can learn from people that don't look like me
Right.
and learn the secrets of the trade so I can teach people that look like me.
Right.
And that's how we build generational wealth.
Right.
That's how we are empowered to change some of the structural stuff that already exists and may not traditionally have worked in our favor.
Right. I got to tell you, like even as recent as maybe like 2 weeks ago, I had a huge mind breakthrough, right? I'm thinking in order to pass wealth to my son, I have to acquired a bunch of net worth, right? And then I have to go and I have to meet with a lawyer and create this big trust, which costs thousands and thousands of dollars. Girl, I meet with my financial advisor, and she was like, yeah, so if you want to begin to do that process, add your son to your operating agreements. I was like, then it passes through you don't have to bypass probate. I was like, what? That was like, I mean, I have 3 businesses.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
of course, what did I do? But it just is a testament to these little things. If you're an entrepreneur and you're making money, one of the ways to ensure that your child gets your money should something happen to you sooner than you intend is to do something, make them a share owner in your business. Put them on as a secondary on your accounts, like little things like that I had no idea. But when we begin to talk about and have these conversations, I think that's what's important is we have to, I think, our parents and our parents' parents, when they grew up in a different time where talking about money was not a thing, right? The Great Depression, it was just work and survive. Then,
Mm-hmm.
it's like then the baby boomers make a better life for our children than we grew up with. And then,
Absolutely.
as X generation, we are waking up to there's something more than having to work in a job. We're waking up to that you
Absolutely.
can create multiple streams of income. But then the mind block is, well, how if I'm working all these hours in the job, right? And so I love it that you're bringing in that passive component, and that there you can always ask the question, well, what if I didn't have to connect my time to my money? I like to play the what if game. Ask yourself,
Absolutely.
if you have a mind block, well, what if that weren't true? What? Oh, there's a possibility that's not true. Stop blocking yourself with the yeah buts and start saying what if.
What if? Yes. I like what if, and I also like maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Maybe I could learn. It's
Get
yeah, I'm like,
curious.
maybe I could learn. Maybe I could actually work. Maybe I
Mhm.
could actually learn how to invest.
Right.
Maybe I could start an e-commerce business
Yes.
on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Maybe I could create a course. Maybe I
Yes.
can teach people this amazing thing that I know I'm great at doing.
Yes.
Maybe what would that look like? And be kind to yourself,
Right. And
right?
don't ask how, because
Don't
see,
ask her.
that's what gets people stuck. Well, okay, maybe, but how am I going to do it? No. Ask, what is the next right step that I could take that would move me one step closer to that maybe?
Yes,
What is the question? Not how, but what? Because when you use the what, it'll get you closer to the how.
I love that. The
Girl.
other thing I love doing is dreaming.
Mm,
Right? There's something beautiful. We don't let ourselves dream. We're so afraid of not accomplishing things that we don't let ourselves dream. But
yeah.
there's something amazing when you picture yourself in a place, when
Mhm.
you get to feel the feelings, to feel the emotion, to feel the excitement. It's like, okay, what would it look like if I worked 4 days a week and I had a day to rest and hang out with my kids. And I know that my income is not decreasing because I'm making money from somewhere else. Like, what would that extra day look like? What would I do with it? I
Mm,
would lie down in my hammock. I would maybe cook a
mm.
little bit. I would maybe finally go get that massage post COVID, whenever, depending on
Right, right.
where you are. Like what would that, just get that feeling, that excitement. And there's something about that excitement that makes you want more of it. And then you're more likely to actually work towards that excitement.
Let me tell you, let's talk brain. Let's talk brain stuff because you my NLP sister right here. You my NLP sister. What it also does is it activates that little reticular activating system in your brain. That's the
Mm-hmm.
part of your brain, y'all, that wants to create a match in the world for that picture that you just put in there. Right. So what you do is you dream, and you dream specifically. And like Dr. Latifat said, you feel the feel, you see what you see, you hear what you hear, you feel the feelings of that perfect day, that whatever that goal is, you do that. And then that little reticular activating system goes, ding, 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 ding. Ooh, let's find a match for that in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of how the how comes, right?
Yep.
It's what's the next step, picture, and then let the how show up, let the path show up. And then when the path shows up, y'all, you got to be listening, you got to be watching, you got to be tuned in, because then you have to be courageous enough to push past all of those little conversations, the yeah, but conversations, all the bodily sensations that we call fear, the butterflies in your stomach, which,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, the same sensation is excitement,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. So what happens is at this point, and I know it because, listen, guys, it happens to all of us. That's why we know exactly what you're thinking, because
Right.
at this point, people go, but okay, that's all nice and good. But what if I dream and then I don't actually achieve it? What if you do?
That's right.
What if you do?
That's right.
What if you do?
Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing. If you don't, I mean, so what? Try something else. I mean, look, people talk about this whole thing about failing and failure, and all it is, I call failure the GPS to success. It's the GPS to success. You I started my practice right out of residency. That practice lasted me about 6 months, and it was done. It was closed. All you do is you take the learnings. What worked? What didn't work? What did I learn? Well, what's next? That's it. If we stop putting so much emotion and meaning to this FAIL word, then there's not
Absolutely.
there's like, what if I do, what if I don't? And I love it. What if I fail? What if I succeed? And it
What
has
if I
equal
succeed?
weight. It has equal weight. Well, if I would just try something different, if we
Yeah.
succeed, well, wow, you know.
Yes. Yes. And it's that fear of failure stops a lot of us more
Mhm.
often than actual failure itself.
Exactly.
Right? It's like we're so afraid of failing, and we get it. We've all
Mhm.
been there. I was so afraid of failing. I mean, even this whole money coaching stuff, it took me forever to like completely launch off, because I was just like, but what if it sucks?
Mhm.
What if I suck? What if it doesn't work out? What if I don't actually help people? But I mean, it's impossible for you not to succeed. The only way to not succeed is to quit.
That's
It's
right.
just is. I
That's
mean,
right.
when we think about all the amazing stuff that we have in terms of like technological advancement, you look
Mhm.
at things like Uber, you look
Mhm.
like the light bulbs, like those are the result of hundreds and dozens of failure. And
Absolutely.
then when the magic happens, we're like, oh my goodness, this is such a success. Every success is based on the background of a ton of failures. And
Absolutely.
honestly, I don't even like the way we use the term failure, because in my opinion, the only failure is not doing,
That's right.
not launching, not changing. Everything else, you're either winning or you're learning.
That's right.
And
That's
that's
right.
just it.
I love it. I love it. Girl, you know what? Me and you, we can go at it all day. We
It's
could
a
just, because this is
problem.
woo. I mean, I love it. We preaching up in here.
Yes, and it's so, and that's why I love what you do, because it's a domino effect,
Yeah.
guys. Like, if you think, and part of it is this, even when I'm doing things like when I'm speaking or when
Mhm.
I'm creating a program,
Mhm.
when I look at myself, fear comes. But when I look at the people that I'm trying to serve, when I look at what I'm trying to do,
Yes.
fear dissipates. So
Mhm.
when you think this is just about you, sometimes it makes it easier for fear and not launching to happen. But
Mhm.
when we put money in your hands, when you succeed, when you live your calling, when you live your passion,
Mhm.
guess who gets to benefit? People that are not even born yet. That's our future,
Mhm.
guys.
Ooh,
Like, that's our future. So I
yeah.
don't even really care what you do. I don't care. I mean, not like in a bad way. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're a teacher or doctor or
Yeah.
therapist or social worker
Yeah.
or nurse or whatever. The bottom line is, if there is a change you want to see in this world, if there is a change you want to see 2 generations from now,
Mhm.
you are the beginning of that domino.
That's
So we need to get money in your hands so that we can create a better world, because there's a
right.
lot of work to do, if you
That's
haven't
right.
noticed.
Psh, girl. And, each and every one of us is responsible, right? Whether we know it or ready to accept it or not. And I assert that anyone listening to this podcast right now is ready, is ready to accept the responsibility wherever you are, whether it's the first step, whether it's a small step, whether it's a big leap, whatever it is, you're ready just by nature of you're listening to this podcast. So that brings me to my next ask. And that is, first of all, you got to come on again for a part two because we ain't done with this
Yes,
conversation.
we're not done. You're coming to my platform as well, because I need you to come bring all this wisdom to my women on the other side of town. I mean, so for those that are listening, this is not my podcast, but I got to brag a little bit about my sister here. She is amazing. She is just, I mean, as a woman physician that teaches women about learning the power of our voice. She is one of the people that I've just gone ahead and like blazed the path for
Right.
people like me and those that are coming behind me. I was speaking
Mm.
with a physician, a woman of color recently, Black woman as well, and she was just like, I see what you're doing, and it just inspires me so much. And I'm like, I see what Dr. Maiysha is doing, and it just inspires me. So I mean, right here, I just want to give you kudos for what you're doing, the things you know and the things you're unconsciously living. And just by existing, you're being an example of what's possible. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for showing all the single mamas in the world that they can rock life and impact and live their dreams. And it's not always easy. And that's what it's about. It's about just one step in front of the other, making progress, understanding that this is a calling, this is a purpose, and it's bigger than all of us. So thanks for doing what you do. Now back to
Thank
your
you
next question.
so much. Oh, you're so wonderful. Look, this is amplifying your voice, and here you are giving me flowers. I'm gonna pass the flowers now because what I want is I want our listeners to know about your amazing program, how they can follow you, because this is part one of part two, y'all. Let's be clear, right? Dr. Latifat got work to do. She got to go see some patients, and I got a little work to do. Not as much as she does at this moment.
It's all just our work, not more than the other, right?
Right. And so I want you all to make sure that you reach out to her because this is the first step. This could be the first step that you take, right, to getting your money right. So Dr. Latifa, please let people know how they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. So I do a lot of video educational content.
Mhm.
If you go on my website, it's moneyfitmd.com, MONEYF as in Frank, ITMD.com. And if you go to the blog or vlog section, I have a bunch of videos. Depending on when this goes live, I'm going to be launching my podcast.
Ooh.
I know, right? You called that last time I was on your platform, by the way, just so you know.
Forgot.
Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to be launching my podcast. But my thing is this: I want you to have a great life. I want you to learn money. I want you to grow money because you get why now at this point.
Yes.
So that's a lot of free content. And I work specifically with women physicians. I have a money school that I run a couple of times a year. It's a 8 weeks money school, and it teaches women physicians the things I call it the missing money curriculum, the
Mm,
stuff that we've never been taught about money, the real reason why we struggle about money that people don't talk about. I'm
mhm.
also a speaker. I do speak at events. So if you want to contact me, go ahead and check out my website. Let me know. I'm here to help you, whether you're a physician or not. So my goal is that your life changes. So let me know. Let's see how we can do that together.
Awesome. And y'all will have all of this information also in the show notes. If you're watching us on video, we'll have it in the YouTube description. So please go check out all the links and social media. How can they follow you on social media as well?
I'm on Instagram and also Facebook, MoneyFitMD.
That's that branding.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Well, you know what, sister of mine, right? Thank you so much for this conversation. I am always so lit up and energized when we talk, and especially for us to be able to share this kind of conversation with my audience is just such a blessing. So I can't wait for the next one on both your and my podcast. And
Yes.
yeah, just, you guys, please reach out to Dr. Latifat because, and go visit her website because what she has is so valuable. And if we're going to elevate and create wealth for our next generation, we got to start with getting our money right. We got to get our mind right so we can get our money right. So go check out moneyfitmd.com and follow Dr. Latifat on all of the social media channels. And once again, to my audience, thank you for listening because I know without the listeners, there is no podcast. And so I just want you to know that we appreciate you. And these conversations are deep conversations. So if you want someone in your community to benefit, share this podcast with them. Leave a comment to let the people listening after you know that this is a transformational conversation. And most of all, stay safe out there and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. All right, y'all. We'll see you on the next episode. Namaste.